Good morning. I'm going to go on about Roaring Spring, but in a kind of a different, slightly different way. There's an expression, I should have looked it up. It goes something like, beware of Greeks bearing gifts. Uh, you got to be careful about somebody with a gift. Uh, and actually, our gifts they're tricky. Um, and my family, we basically don't give gifts to each other like birthdays, anniversaries. We even Christmas and stuff. The children we do, but we usually don't. If somebody wants something, they can get it. But anyway, I'm in a position to give Roaring Spring, or anybody, I guess, but Roaring Spring is the focus, some pretty major gifts. And I'm going to just mention them here. But does Roaring Spring really want them? Roaring Spring is a tiny town. It's lost its paper mill. It's being torn down. Some might think they politely call it's quieted down. I don't have the feeling that Roaring Spring is terribly needy. It seems to me to be doing fine one way or another. But I have got some gifts. Let me mention some of them. Some are small, not a big deal, but they get bigger. The first gift that leaps to mind is actually this sing-along at the Roaring at the Spring Dam Brewery beer garden. I have to check. Do you really want this gift? And I think they're not sure because they've never been offered anything quite like it. I'm sure, but I got the word yes, and so on December 21st, there's going to be a sing-along of Christmas carols and hymns and 5 courses from Messiah. I expect that's going to be quite an event. We'll see. But anyway, that's going to be a gift. It won't cost the town really anything. Uh, and I'm not getting anything out of it except, well, the great pleasure of doing it. So that's one. Uh, on a much smaller level, there's a set of chairs right there that I've got. Actually, my feet are on. Here's one of them right there. I've got a set of these. There's about, I think, I've got about 20, I think, that were given to me. And, I've got them. Some of them are in the barn, a bunch of them they stack. And I'll give them to the brewery if they want them. I'd take them in for that occasion, that concert. They're padded, so they're steel. They can be outside. That's final, and they can be outside and get wet, but they stack and they would cover. And if you're sitting in a steel chair on December 21st, your rear end may get a little bit chilly. So I think they might be welcome that day. But I'll leave them there if they want them. I'll be happy to give them. There's another one there. I use them, I like them, but I would happily give them where they would get more use. So there's that one. Another one, a piano, an old upright piano, not a real big one. It's been in the barn. Who the heck wants an old piano? Virtually nobody. So I don't know, but it could sit outside at the beer garden. I'd tune it up. You can paint it if you want. So that's something else. Well, I wouldn't only offer it to the beer garden. I'd offer it to several other places that I'm thinking might be interested in the gifts. So there's 3. Now, another one. Now it's getting bigger. It occurred to me that I would give Roaring Spring a stage, not just something I threw together now. This has got quite. It's the stage that's out there in the barn. It's a version of a Shakespearean theater, the Rose Theater, that the Shakespearean troupe built in order to put on Romeo and Juliet, and I think we put on something like. I hauled it in about 2 or 3 full pickup truckloads into the high school, set it up for one performance, and then brought it back at the end of the weekend. It was in the field for a while. I didn't have time to do with it, but then I brought it back down. I put it in the barn. I set it up. It's a stage with pillars, with columns painted up. It's really nice. Uh, and I knew it was valuable. And the floor of it is finished real nice wood because it came from, I don't, it must have cost thousands. A sixth grade class in the middle school uh, got money and bought it, but then the middle school couldn't use it and they ended up giving it to me. That's kind of a long story. But I would give that to, again, I want to say anybody that would use it a lot, I think, although I'll use it eventually as part of Frank's School Camp Ranch campus. Uh, but I would give it to the brewery, beer garden, if they wanted it. I don't know how well that would fit in there. It would be the equivalent of giving them a Shakespearean theater, an Elizabethan theater, because those theaters in that day and age did not have heat, they did not have lighting except for an opening in the ceiling. If you want to see a wonderful version of that kind of a theater, and the one that I used as my model when I built that one, look at the movie Shakespeare in Love. In the year that Saving Private Ryan came out, Shakespeare in Love beat that movie as best movie of the year. It's a great movie, and the set is outstanding. And in the very beginning of it, the movie opens with the camera panning in a circle coming down through the center of the theater so you can get a real good look at it. Anyway, I have it out there. It's dirty. It should be repainted, parts of it, but it's strong. It would. So anyway, there's another place that could use it possibly even better than the brewery, because it wouldn't just be for one event really. It could be there, and that's across Main Street, East Main Street from the Danny K Cafe. They own a lot where an apartment building burned and had to be torn down, and they have that, which is going to be turned into a parking lot. But it's really steep. It's going to be a tricky thing to do. But I was thinking, gee, it could be a parking lot and have the stage at the bottom. So I mean, it's a possibility. Now we're getting into, in value, if you really wanted it, thousands of dollars to duplicate what I have there. So there's that one. Another gift that I would like to give Roaring Spring is a restored water wheel. I'd like to make a restoration. No, I shouldn't say that. A duplication of the water wheel that ran the Bear grist mill. That's a little bit more. I'm obviously, or I'm confident I could do that, but actually the doing of it would be a little bit involved, just not an outright gift. But that's part of what this is about. That's a study for a water wheel. That's kind of how I built it. But that, of course, was a huge water wheel. Maybe 20, 25 feet high. But not the mill. They tore the mill down. They tore the water wheel. They took it away and all that. But just the water wheel, so people could see it. There's a gift that I'm in a position where I could give. That would take some doing. And if they want to accept the idea that they are the Roaring Spring campus of Frank's School, there's a gift as well. I already gave that, whether they like it or not. That's the way I think of it anymore. And I guess the one other that I'll mention now is when I was raised, I was taken away from Roaring Spring. I think of it as taken into exile. I've mentioned that before. When I was about 4 years old and raised in Concord, New Hampshire. Well, in Concord, New Hampshire, that's where I went through schooling up through high school. There was a series called the Walker Lecture Series. Anyone from Concord that watches these, or my Facebook friends, they would know about the Walker Lectures. A woman back in the late 1800s gave a dowry for a series of lectures for the city of Concord. And it's still going on, as far as it's been going on for 120 years, maybe even longer. And every, or not every, it was seasonal, but Wednesday nights, there would be a lecture down in the town city hall, I think is what you call it, and I used to attend them. I mean, it was part of the reason I got it, and I think several of us did, because our education was not only gotten at the high school uh, or the middle school, it was also gotten in those lectures, for which we got no credit, but we went down there just because we wanted to learn. Well, oh, and the last one of the season every year that I knew of was Handel's Messiah. That was a Walker lecture. There was the money endowed to pay the orchestra, some of the players coming all the way up from Boston. Uh, and you know, we sang in Handel's Messiah. So in a sense, what I'm going to start, the first gift I'm going to start with clearly here is going to be related to what that last gift could be. Now, I don't have money, much at all, so I can't just give an endowment, but I could get a series started of lectures, uh, free lectures. Again, that might take some doing, but you know, if we'll see. Anyway, I'm forgetting some gifts, but I'm in a position. Oh, one other one I'll think of. I'm going to be making a model of Roaring Spring, this topography, a big model, about as big as my arms go in each direction, I think. Maybe not, well, maybe. To show the topography, and I'm going to put, I don't know, little tiny buildings or at least markers to show what that town was like in the year 1938. You know, and I'm going to build it back here on this table. I'll tell you a whole lot more about that soon, maybe today even. Well, when I have that model, already actually the woman who runs and owns and runs Danny K Cafe, when I told her about it, she said, you know, where could we put that model? I don't know. Bye for now.